Hey everybody, welcome to Shooting the Shit with Yankee, and as usual, I'm Yankee, so let's start shooting. Tonight's topic is militias. Are they outdated? Are they antiquated? Do they have a place in modern day society? And were they replaced by the National Guard? You know, a lot of people will talk about militias, and if they're not really in favor of them, they'll say the National Guard replaced militias. You know, the Second Amendment was written back when we didn't have a standing army, when we didn't have National Guards. So we needed militias. And that's why it existed. A lot of people always think of the Second Amendment as a collective right regarding militias. But putting aside the fact that the Supreme Court has clarified now that the Second Amendment is an individual right, we still do have the topic of militias to discuss. Do they have a place in today's society, or were they replaced by the National Guard? And I am someone who's going to say that they most definitely have a place in today's society. In fact, I think they're more important now than ever. I think we should have more militias. We should have more organized groups of people who come together and talk about being prepared, trained to be prepared, etc. And the fact that there's a National Guard now, that doesn't mean we have less reason to do it. It means we have more reason to do it. Because remember, one of the major reasons the Second Amendment was written, it was to defend against threats to our democracy, both foreign and domestic, meaning our own government, when they try to wrest control, which they've already done. Billionaires run our country now. And eventually, that's going to have to change. And it ain't going to change till we basically eat the rich. And we're going to need to be organized to do that. So I think militias are more important now than ever. And I think that's one of the reasons why they take the emphasis off of them nowadays and make it seem like if you're in a militia, then you're obviously some sort of paranoid whack job, because they don't want militias forming. They don't want people to be organized. They don't want people to be prepared. And a lot of people say, well, if we went into a big battle like this, if this ever happened and we had to fight back, police are going to be the people we actually fight, not the National Guard. And that's true. Police are going to be the main enemy in a civil war. The powers that be already know the military is not going to be dependable for them. They're going to tell them to stand down. Same thing, National Guard. Governor's just going to disband them. If it came down to an actual fight where they were mobilizing their military, which is the police force, against the people, they would just tell the National Guard to stand down, because they wouldn't be able to trust whose side they would be on. So I think it's more important now than ever to have militias. And I don't think the National Guard replaced them, because like I said, if it ever came time to fight back domestically, well, the National Guard is run by the people we'd be fighting back against. And they would tell them, stand down, while they mobilize the police forces. So I'm someone that believes we need to be more organized than ever. It's more important that we're able to come together nowadays. And in fact, the internet is great for that. It helps. But we're seeing the internet slowly taken over completely by the same billionaires that actually run the government, so that they're also controlling the message. So it seems like even that's working against us now, which is why I think it's more important than ever that they have specific meetings where people go to specific places and talk with specific individuals, where they actually meet up, where we actually do things. I would love to see a resurgence of militias, because like I said already, they are more important than ever, because we are more likely and closer to having to fight to take back our own country than ever before. And it isn't taking it back from the left or taking it back from the right. It's the citizens taking it back from the government and the billionaires that own them. It's bad enough right now we're being stifled on the internet by those billionaires, and they're running the government, but they're trying to make it to where also militias don't exist. You have no way to organize them. They don't want them. They want to paint you as an idiot if you're a part of one, a paranoid delusional. You know, so like I said, I think they're very much important today, just like they were back in the day. In fact, now I think they're even more important, because the enemy we might be fighting against has more resources than ever. So we need to have those same resources for us. And even though that was a little long-winded, I kind of stumbled around a little bit. Let's get over here to see what other people are saying, weighing in here, because like I say, these are more about your opinions than mine. Edgar Cortez says the National Guard is important, but is not a replacement for the type of militia the founding fathers wanted citizens to be able to form to protect themselves from a oppressive government. One man's opinion, and I agree with that opinion. That's exactly the point. And like I said, the National Guard works for the government. The Army works for the government. If the government thinks that the Army or National Guard is not going to be on their side, especially the National Guard, just tell them stand down. They'll just ban them for the day. They don't want them there. They'll send them home. John Mandrick. I think the definition of militia has changed over the years for the worse. I feel militias were less organized than the National Guard is. Well, yeah, they weren't a paid, structured thing like the National Guard, where you were an employee, you were a soldier. They were citizens coming together to not necessarily go out and do target practice. You can do that on your own, but just keeping the connections there, that who to turn to, where to go. Things like, hey, if things get bad, this is where we meet. This is the things we do. These are the things we say, just what you would need to do at that time. Because like I said, you're not going to be able to trust social media. They're going to play false messages on there. They're going to delete true messages. They're going to, it's just they've already established we don't have to tell the truth, and we're not going to. Like when they say we're not going to do fact checking anymore. In other words, we get to promote whatever we want to promote. Now, I'm not a big fan of fact checking because it always depends on who's doing the checking. But when you're saying we're not going to do any checking on what's true and what's not, well, that's okay. But it's not okay when you're deciding which things you're going to promote as true or get more eyes on, simply because it benefits you. That's what they do. So that's openly, we can say whatever we want to say, and no one's going to check us. So I don't trust the internet. John Mendrick, second point, law enforcement does not want a traditional military to exist. Oh, no, they don't. They're the first ones to tell you, the people are crazy. They're trying to play policeman. No, they're playing defender against policeman is what they're doing. John Heasley, there are a few different militias in Ohio. Yeah, unfortunately, there's some here too, and I've gone to them. I went to some in Alabama. I went to some in West Virginia and Ohio, and unfortunately, they all turned out to be nothing much more than Ku Klux Klan rallies without the robes. And when I moved here to the Pacific Northwest, I'm like, well, it's going to be different now. The militia meetings up here will be different. Wasn't that different? Unfortunately, the militia namesake and the militia idea has been overtaken by like white nationalists. And we need to take that back. That belongs to the people, not to certain special interest political groups and ideology groups. Should be for everybody. It shouldn't be political. It should be apolitical. But unfortunately, that's not the case these days. Practical Bacon, militias are important. However, they have a very bad image problem, justified and or unjustifiably so. It's justified right now. Like I say, as someone who wanted to be active in militias, in the actual concept, it was really hard to find a place that if you weren't a jackbooted, right-wing, nut job racist, you didn't really fit in. Now, this has been 15, 20 years ago. Maybe things have changed. Maybe things are getting better. But I don't know. But we need to make it better. And we need to start making a concerted effort to take back militias from the fringe. Make it mainstream again. John Mandrick says, are there any people nearby you would militia with? Well, here's the thing. I unfortunately don't know a lot of people. Because, I keep to myself. I live on my property. They live on theirs. I don't really socialize a lot. I'm not a very social person. So as far as having a set group of friends I'm going to form up a platoon with, probably not going to be happening. That's why we need those rosters. We need those lists. We need those formal, ties to each other that will still be there when things get bad. Can't just rely on word of mouth and, I know my neighbor's got a gun, I'll go get him. No, because just imagine if you were the government and these militia people who would normally come out and be part of the militia and fight, and they turn on Facebook or X and they're told all the militia people are meeting at this building at 7:00. If you were the government, all you do is put that on the internet. And since the billionaires that own it are the government, I mean, hell, look, Elon Musk is getting in everybody's personal information. No one ever elected Elon Musk, and he's a government contractor, and he's getting all the information for all the other government contractors. Does that sound legal or fair? No. So all they'd have to do is someone like Elon Musk, who pretty much runs the government anyway, say, everybody's meeting at this building, 7 o'clock, and just blow up the fucking building. Be too easy to set people up if the internet's the thing they rely on. We need structured militias. We need well-regulated militias. That means working properly, structured. We need that. And unfortunately, I don't know if it's ever going to come back, but it definitely needs to. That looks like that's the last comment coming in right now. I think I made my point clear, my crazy anti-government point, my tinfoil hat point. So do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Seems like most people in here agreed, or at least we're on the same page. How about you? If you disagree, let me know in the comment section below. If you agree, let me know in the comment section below. If you want to be part of the conversation in person, come to one of our live chats. We do them every night at 6 p.m. except for Wednesdays when they're at 7 p.m. Come in, let yourself be heard. Let's hear your opinion. I hope to see you at one of the live chats coming up and hope to hear your opinion on whatever topic it is we're discussing that night. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again. I am a grown-ass man.